Hi! Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome. Hi, my name is Christine Marguerite, Love Evolve Energy, and you have found yourself on the Evolve Within Love YouTube group channel. And I do a regular show here on Mondays, hopefully, depending on how things are going, called Energy Geek Speak. And so today we'll see how it goes. Look, everything's kind of crazy with my hair, with everything. Oh my goodness, there's so much going on in the planet. And here I am speaking about one little detail. So this is part 2. I'm not sure how many parts there will be to this, but this is part 2 of Elohim Lockbox Technique. So I gave you an overview plus a whole bunch of other things in the last episode, which was maybe 2 weeks ago at this point. So I wanted to continue on a little bit more and just catch you up. Sometimes an overview of such a large concept can be a lot to chew on all at once. So hopefully when you come to these Energy Geek Speak sessions, you just let it wash over you. You can feel free to ask questions in the feed below, anything like that. I'm happy to address and answer as best I can. Today, I want to unpack a few concepts that I talked about. One is simply the term Elohim. So I mentioned that and I unpacked that a little bit in Elohim Lockbox Technique Part 1. And I think that is episode 2 or 3 of Energy Geek Speak. I don't know. I'll put it below in case you're just finding this now. Wow, look at the hair. As you can see, I'm a little bit wackalish. So let's unpack this a bit. Before I do that, I just want to mention a few more things. If you don't know who I am, you can check out below. And I have tons of links where you can find me and more information about me. So I'm an energy worker, coach, meditation facilitator, woo, and big spiritual experience space holder. In a nutshell, that's what I do. So Elohim is a word that points at a particular kind of energetic consciousness, a very large experiential energy consciousness. When I say consciousness, what I'm implying there, and you may infer, is something that has an awareness to it. The consciousness has an awareness, which you may also call a kind of intelligence. So simply know that. There are different people who have talked about these consciousnesses for eons, really. Most people refer to the Bible in the old Aramaic and its later transcriptions into ancient Greek, etc., etc. And that is coming from the Hebrew language first, and before that, another language. So I won't unpack every specific scripture that speaks about these Elo or Eloah, or Elohim is really the plural. However, I just wanted to acknowledge that we get that word from a Jewish tradition and Christian tradition, Judeo-Christian tradition. Although they are energies that are far beyond those two specific traditions, just so you know. And it can mean divinity or God, or in the plural, gods. When we speak from the Bible point of view, they are seen as the first exhale and breathing out, the first intention of divinity, and the first multiplicity from divinity. Angels and archangelic are a different expression of the same. And so, in a sense, it has this very primal, foundational energy to it. They are known as creators, foundational creators within the known universe, our particular universe that functions in a particular way. And from a human point of view, we have the 5, 6, 7, or 8 sense gates through which to experience manifestation. If you go to, so that's all I'm going to really say about that. A person that has really picked up the whole concept is Elizabeth Clare Prophet. And she is somewhat of a controversial figure within spirituality. I guess I would call it derived from Christianity. It had eventually got this bad rap of being very sort of extremist and cultish. I don't want to go into all of that scandalousness, but I do want to acknowledge it. I am not blind to that. She and they, that group of people, spoke very specifically about Elohim and categorized it into 7 pairs of yin yangs, or masculine feminine, not gender male female, but pairs of opposites. Agencies and communions would be another way to say that. And each of these pairs, each element in each of the 7 pairs, 14 elements altogether, has specific names and specific attributes. And there are pages and pages and paragraphs of writings about her view and her channeling of this Elohim information and what these consciousness beings are and what they're doing here. I have heard and had other teachers talk about the Elohim in terms of qualities. Did I bring that? These consciousnesses are more concepts in another spiritual view. And I'm going to read them off to you. I may need my glasses for this. Hold on. If you go to my Facebook page, Love Evolve Energy Facebook page, I started a series where I spoke about the Elohim, and I started to unpack each of the names and massage each of the names so that it would feel more empowered and make more sense to who we are now in terms of our spiritual evolution, which also is influenced by cultural and ethics and values and morals, and how all of those things have evolved as I sit here speaking to you in late 2020. So the names other people work with. The names are these: faith, hope, purity, grace, liberty, peace, harmony, mercy, rapture, love, and victory. Faith Elohim, hope Elohim, purity Elohim, etc., etc. The series that I began on my Love Evolve Energy Facebook page looked at a few of these consciousnesses and how they are named and started to reimagine them. I went through victory and I turned that into exaltation. And I will put a link to that particular video if you're curious. I did the same thing with mercy, and I called that honor or forbearance. There are a few others, and I could rename each of these more specifically. So, with each of these approaches, as I spoke a little bit about the 7 pairs within the Elizabeth Clare Prophet tradition, and these other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 within this other tradition, and I'll let you know, and I'll post below where this originated. We'll see. Different people have appropriated it, and I have yet to find where that origination is. That's a whole other tradition and a way to view. So if we look at both of these views, they're definitely consciousnesses, but they're also concepts without having really explicated the pairs within Elizabeth Clare Prophet. To look at them as foundations is really interesting. Within both of these views, the viewpoint, it feels as if it's coming from the human mind and the human lens, which has a particular color or flavor. No matter what, our deep conditioning influences how we perceive. And in most cases, 90% of the time, we are perceiving our mind. We are perceiving an interpretation. Ooh, what just happened to my light? I'm going to have to shift that over here, perhaps. Or maybe let that be okay. The sun's doing different things. I think you can still see me though. We're not really perceiving directly or accurately without a lot of training, particularly Buddhist techniques of vipassana, clear seeing, training the mind to flush out the deep conditioned patterns that overlay a direct perception of things, of manifestation. So knowing that within both of these traditions, and all of these beautiful, somewhat biblical kind of feeling concepts of liberty, peace, love, harmony, exaltation. I question a bit. They're handy terms, and they lead us in a particular direction that is perhaps above and beyond and outside of mundane, what we these days call muggle life. That's important because I believe that's the direction in which to go to comprehend or at least touch these energies. What I'm curious about when we're working with these energies and we're allowing them to come into our energetic gridded space, which is what we talked about in the last video, talking about Elohim Lockbox Technique. It has this other feeling. When we come into this other primal feeling, it has, and if you think the beginning building blocks and the beginning creators or creatrixes, it begins to feel elemental. And indeed, one spiritual path begins to talk about the elementals, and if I will find the link and I will post that below so you can research it on your own. That which is the foundation of all that we perceive emanated from and was created structurally by Elohim and is nurtured and cared for every moment of existence by elementals, caring for everything that can be divided down into 4 to 12 elemental building blocks that we perceive. Basics: air, water, earth, fire. You may have wood, you may have metal. That would be 6. And then you would have combinations of all of these. For example, air, water would become mist. If you mix fire into that, you have steam. Things like that. So, what's the link? How do we begin to conceive of that aspect of highest spiritual perception that wants to name these energies as hope, mercy, ecstasy, victory? Where's the truth in there? Where's the phenomenological experience within this? When we come to the Elohim Lockbox technique, what are we looking at? What are the consciousnesses? What are the guides? What are the energies that are shifting and coming into our foundations? Because indeed, our physicalness rests on energetic foundations. And so, these are questions that are beginning to be explored as we come into these techniques, as we become connected to the Elohim. Is there an air Elohim? Not according to Elizabeth, Claire, Elizabeth Prophet, whoever. Not according to these other traditions, maybe not according to biblical sources. They have qualities. And so how do we make the leap for them being the original creators, the foundations of the planet, into our basic elemental selves? It's something to be experienced. So I will direct you again to my Facebook page where I begin to talk about these qualities as consciousnesses. What is the consciousness of hope? What is the consciousness of purity? What is the consciousness of love? Can I have a conversation with love? Can I have a conversation with hope? Can I have a conversation with an Elohim, with an archetypal Elohim, with an archetype, a large archetype energy? Can we rest in duality and have a dialogue with that? And what happens when we move into an energetic experience of that? Another thing to add on to this that I'll talk about in the weeks to come, and I may talk about in Soulful Connections. So if you haven't seen yet, Soulful Connections group on Facebook. Yes, we're still on the book that is Face. I do a weekly, maybe bi-weekly, depends on what's going on in my life, show there as well. And there I definitely talk about Elohim and that practice and angelic energy work, as well as breath and breath work, because that's a big part of this as well. Holy Spirit, Holy Inspiration, Spiration, Esprit. So I think I'll leave it here and maybe talk again next week. Answers. I have areas of inquiry that I am offering to all of us as we go into these techniques. So in terms of Elohim Lockbox Technique. What I just spoke about today is pointing at conceptually what these energies are and how it's so significant to touch upon them on our own time, in our own practice. So this will be a short one today. I'll leave it here, and then maybe I'll post two in the same day. We'll see how inspired I get in a little bit. I just wanted to unpack what I'm talking about a little bit more and some of the background around that, and how we're talking about something so foundational that we can hardly touch on it. And yet it is becoming a more and more palpable and present time experience for us in our lived life, everyday moment. I hope that was clear as mud. I hope that was helpful and at least something to take a little bit of a look at. All right. Much love to you. Check out everybody else here. Check out my links. I would love to work with you, and I would love to work with these highest 18th dimensional and beyond energy work techniques to create more freedom and groundedness at the same time in your life. Indeed, that's what these energy work techniques are all about. All right. I would love to work with you. So thank you for coming. Thanks for showing up. And please post any questions and I'd be happy to answer. And I'll see you next week. I may have an addendum. We'll find out. All right. So much love to you. Thanks for paying attention to yourself. Thank you for loving yourself. Thank you for caring for your well-being. So much love. Mwah! Bye now.